All right, let's get started. I think other people might trickle in, but we'll go ahead and get started. Do we have a book? Do you need one? Yes. Yeah. Let's see. Next time, ma'am, do you need one? Oh,
And sign in sheet.
yes, that's up here too.
Did I sign it?
Because the superstars here.
That's right. That's right. Last night. That's good. Okay, I want to start with a short discussion about the word accountability. Because I think that sometimes we see the word accountability and it throws us for a loop. It makes us nervous and worryful, about. It's one of those words. It can be really negative or it can be really positive. Accountability is something that, when somebody says, well, he needs to have some accountability for that, a lot of times we're like, he's in trouble. But I think that if you look at it from a different perspective, if you take it as, I'm going to hold myself accountable so that I can reach my goal, it takes on a whole different connotation. So what are some things that you kind of associate with the word accountability? Discipline.
Focus.
Focus. Exactly. Okay. Well, that's something that I just wanted to kind of talk about that for a couple of minutes because, like I said, I think that the word accountability a lot of times has a negative connotation in people's minds, but it's really not a negative word. It's actually a word that it just keeps you going in the right direction. So if you're accountable,
Yeah, not really. Not going to a little bit later.
Fantastic. Well, we just got started. We were talking about the word accountability. I kind of kicked it off with that just to start because that's the session that we're doing today, the accountability session. But I wanted to talk a little bit about the word accountability because I think a lot of times people have a negative connotation of what accountability is. They think when somebody's going to hold you accountable, or if you have to accept accountability, then it's because you're not doing something correctly, but it's really more just to keep you focused and going in the right direction and heading the right way. So the first thing I want to talk about is get your head in the game. So this is the end of our first week of Ignite. We've been working on doing that daily 10-4. How's everybody doing with that?
Slowly.
How many people are you contacting a day?
I'm used to it.
Okay. Are you writing thank you notes?
I gotta get my got my desk.
That's good though, but you're doing the activities, and so that you're reaching your database and you're staying right in front of them.
Right.
So, and you've already had some successes. Tina's is hoping to write an offer today, and she's got Heather's got appointments all over the place, and so everything's moving. The camera's on.
Okay.
Check real quick. It's right in front of my monitor. So anyway, Tina, will you read through this for us, and we'll just talk about some of our ahas from this little blurb. It's a really cool little blurb, actually.
And the millionaire real estate agent, Gary Keller, co-founder and chairman of the board of Keller Williams Realty, writes that your business will ultimately be a reflection of you. If it is to change, improve, and grow, you will have to too. Your ability and willingness to work on yourself will in large part determine how far you and your business go.
I'll pause from that.
Yes.
What jumps out at you from it?
That I have to change my mindset about what I think. I can't think the old way.
That's right.
I have to change my mindset.
That's absolutely true.
Well, I would say like where it says, your ability and willingness to work on yourself will determine how far your business is.
Absolutely. I was looking through some things yesterday, and I keep thinking about bowl balls that and Heather and I just went through bowl. Have you ever done bowl before?
I started back and finished, but I'm going back on.
Good. I'm so excited that you're going to do that because I think it'll shoot you through the roof. The fact that you're already jumping in and doing this like you are, bowl's only going to get you. I mean, your skills skyrocket. I have no doubt. But if you keep doing what you've always done, you'll get what you've always gotten. You can have reasons or results. You can't have both. And those are all things that kind of led me back to this. When I read this, I had bowl balls kind of popping into my head. No pressure, no diamonds. I mean, there are a ton of them that you can that just are kind of reflected in this that I thought of. So anyway, that was just another. That was what jumped out at me was that the same things that he's saying here, that your business will ultimately be a reflection of you. If it is to change, improve, grow, you will have to too. Right. It's a lot of what I learned that will be learned in bold. So today's action plan, we're going to check in on what you've accomplished this week. Heather, I know you're on vacation for part, so we won't hold your hand to the fire too much. But or vacation in air quotes, I'll say. Evaluate wins and opportunities of the week and make adjustments, and then we're going to time block for any unfinished business this week. I think this is going to, because next week our accountability session is about time blocking, so this will be a good kickoff to kind of get you prepared and blocking some time out for next week. I'm a work in progress with time blocking, and I have had some reasons rather than results because of the fact that I haven't jumped in and been able to really time block. A lot of it, or a lot of my reasons are, centered around the move, but it's time for me to really buckle down and block my time so that I'm making the most efficient use of my time, so that I can come here, get it done, and go home. Because you want to go and be with your big wow. There's those things are important. They are the reason we do this. So revisit your goals and then bring your big why to life with the vision board. And I have some supplies for you. So we're going to work on our vision boards today too. So for today, you're going to need the following. You're going to need your calendar. You both have your phone, so I'm assuming you have your calendar. Your daily 10-4 tracking and results, and we'll talk about those a little bit deeper. Your big why and your value proposition, and supplies to make your vision board. I have a bunch of magazines over here, and I have paper that we can use. There's some crayons and glue sticks. So we're going to work on those vision boards. So let's stand up and let's say the affirmation of the day. We're going to say it 3 times through. I'm learning and accomplishing more and more each day. Ready? I am learning and accomplishing more and more each day. I am learning and accomplishing more and more each day. I am learning and accomplishing more and more each day. Never, ever has it been more true than now for me. I feel like really, some days I just get saturated. Some days I go home and I look at Kelly and I'm like, exhaustion. Like I'm done. My brain can't handle anymore. Luckily, my baby doesn't talk yet and do things, but he's mobile now, so I'm chasing, but that's not mental. But my mental, when I get home in the afternoons, I feel like my head's this big because it's just full of new stuff. So let's recap what we did this week. Let me scroll down and get that. So just as a recap, so this is the first of your 4 weekly accountabilities. I've already said that. Congratulations, we got through week 1. That's as much of a congratulations for you guys as it is for us that are actually up here teaching it. So It's exciting for me too. You know, these are big for me because this is my first opportunity to get up here and teach you guys. So I'm excited about it. So this week we set a financial goal, calculated the number of transactions we needed to do it. And Heather, I think you've already done some of that with Millionaire Real Estate Agents. So you kind of have those numbers already, even though you weren't here for the first part of the week. So got your database of contacts organized in eEdge. How's everybody doing on that? Working on that. Are you putting them in though? Yes. Okay, good. Get them put in because seriously, the work on the front end is it's going to take a little bit of time, but once it's there, and then once you don't have to add, you know, if you have 150 right now, add 150 is going to take you some time, but adding 10 a day, you know, so
That's one of my time blocks.
there we go. Good. Say that out loud again. Let everybody hear you.
That's one of my time blocks I'm gonna put in when we do it for this weekend to put in my.
Oh, we should do that. Tina gets my gold star for the week.
I got it.
But get those contacts in because then you can put them on some of those automatic things that they're getting. You know, some of those things are happening for you, and you're not having to go and be so intentional about everything. If you're intentional about getting it started, then a lot of that's going to be a whole lot easier in the long run. I think a lot of times people get wrapped around the axle about getting the process started because it seems like so much work to start with. But if it's going to eventually help you in the long run, why not do it? It's time block, like you said, get the work done, get it in there, and then it's a whole lot easier. It works for you, I know you work for it. So, call your vets for referrals. I know you've called some people for referrals. Tina's been doing a really good job on that. How many people have you been calling this week?
You know, I didn't call, but I did. I had some vets last night, like just through some social stuff.
I knew that you went out.
And I was like, I handed out 10 business cards last night.
It's the same
I
thing.
stuffed them in Derek's pocket because I didn't even carry my purse or my phone. And every time, like literally, I handed out 2 business cards. And it was people that I knew or people that just were acquaintances that I handed them to. I mean, I was very purposeful about it.
Sure, and that's the lead generation is not just about picking up the phone and calling. That is, I think sometimes we get on this thing where we think that that's the only way. But I mean, if you're in a social situation, every situation is a situation for lead generation. We talked about that with open houses. Those are all about lead generation. We talked about that pretty much the whole week. I mean, any situation that you're in can be a lead generation situation.
Went up to the bank teller. Since I've been in this class, I've been enrolled. I went up to the bank teller this week a couple times. And every time I get a new one, I ask them about the real estate. They address or know someone. And I got
Really? And those
I wouldn't do that.
are habits.
Yeah.
I mean, those are people you don't even know.
Right.
So, I mean, give them your business card. You never know who's gonna come in and who's gonna be your cash cow, I think was a word that Julie used in here the other day. You never know. You just don't ever know. So the more people you ask, what's the worst thing they can say?
No.
Well, I found and it was kind of an aha moment for me last night because I've had like some not great things happen. So there were 3 different people that came up to me and said, "How is your real estate?" I mean, like it was just random people that saw you. How's it going? I know, or I see this or I see that. So I was like, all right, so I'm in people's minds because that's the ultimate
It's
thing.
happening for you, and a lot of that probably has to do with Bold and these classes where you're actually kind of forcing yourself to make those contacts and calling people and seeing people out. I know
And not being afraid to say,
I'm a real estate.
yeah. You know what I mean? And it being a way that's not pushing. You know what I mean? Like,
Sure.
all those different.
I had a recruit come in. He's getting ready to start real estate school. He's starting in July, and he said to me, I would be scared to pick up the phone and just call somebody because I'm scared I wouldn't have the knowledge. I said, well, you're going to go to real estate school. You're going to know the law. I said, and I showed him some of our nice scripts that we had worked on that day because it was the same day that I had taught the open house class, so I just kind of had it handy. I said, this is just a script for open houses. I said, we have a million of these. I said, they're everywhere. So I think, and he was like, oh, he said, well, now if I could, have something like this, and we've been practicing those scripts this week, and Tina's been on every day practicing those scripts from 8:30 to 9. Sandra was on every day except for today. Today was the first day she hadn't been on. So, but it's the important thing, and it is extremely, extremely important in order to continue to grow your business, that you do that daily 10-4. It's not hard to contact 10 people a day. It's just not. It's a quick phone call. It's seeing them at the scullery when you go and have coffee. You see at least 10 people. It's hard to see if they know of anybody to do. Get that contact information added to your database. So let's talk about the daily 10-4. So build and manage your database. Did you add anybody new to your database yesterday? Okay, good. So you've added people, and then awesome. And then you connect with 10 people. You said at least 6. You're getting at least 6 a day. Shoot for 10 next week.
Right.
Don't time block. Make sure you get it in there and shoot for those 10. And then write 10 notes and get those out. You need to go buy some stamps and just have them on your desk, and that way you're ready to put them in.
Yeah.
I sent something to add there, notecardcafe.com. You can get 75 note cards for $16.
And they have.
They don't have Keller Williams, but they're thank you notes or just
notes.
different designs of
Right.
note cards.
And you can get something fancy and red.
You can get the Keller Williams.
They do have them.
They don't have them at Note Card
There's
Cafe.
plenty in there.
Yeah,
There
you
are
go
other
with it.
vendors you can get them from.
In your
But Note Card
mind,
Cafe is
it's
just
cheaper.
it's a good price for
Yeah.
note cards.
But on MyKW, there's a thing where you can find a vendor, and you can go in there and look at the approved vendors. The cool thing about the approved vendors a lot of times for me is that everything's done by the KW specs, because there are certain, like, if you're going to use the logo, it has to be the right colors, and it has to be even positioning. There are certain things that they have about positioning. So it's just kind of a good thing to have if you use one of the approved vendors, then you make sure you don't do anything that's a no-no. That's what I did with my initial business cards, and then I'll likely go get somebody local now and just say, can you replicate this when I need more? And then preview 10 homes. That's something that you can, it's so helpful, especially if you're working with buyers. Previewing 10 homes every week, especially like if you know that you're working with buyers in a certain price range, go in there in the MLS, look up those homes and look at everything you can, learn about it. Then when your buyers are ready to, when they're wanting to look at something, or you're sending them to them. I mean, you've got these people in your database that even might be thinking about it that you've talked to, and they said, well, I don't know, I'm not sure, send them a property. Say, oh, have you seen this property? You might get their juices flowing. You just never know.
Well, and I think too, getting that. I mean, the first thing I do when I wake up in the morning and look at my phone is the hot sheet from the day. I mean, like, that's the first thing I do. I look and see, because particularly if I have buyers that are in a certain, like you said, just want to be in a certain place, and I say, oh my gosh, look, this house just came on the market today. And I text. Well, normally she knows right as soon as I do, because she looked. But you know what I mean? I text and say, hey, check it out. This property just came on. So I think that's easy, because that's sent to us every single morning.
And it's a touch to somebody in your database. If you know somebody, if you talked to somebody a couple of weeks ago and they said, well, my kid's probably going to be looking soon, and you have that kid, and you say, well, give me their contact information. Even if they didn't give you their contact information, shoot that property to mom. Maybe she'll shoot it over to the kid. You never know. And then that sparks, then you're in the front of their mind. Anything you can do to stay in the front of their minds. So, daily 10-4. We kind of already done we've evaluated some wins and opportunities. We've evaluated our wins. What are some of your opportunities for this week? Things that maybe, like you said, you're getting 6 and you got your note cards written, but you haven't sent them out. So those are opportunities. Number 1, make it a point to go to the post office and drop those cards off today. Do you have stamps here?
Yeah, I already got them on stamps and everything.
Sit them.
I put them in bed.
Is mailbox on yet? Is mailbox on yet?
There's an outgoing basket at the front window, the little, the same one we used at the offices over the front window.
So just go, throw them in there, and they'll go out today. You don't have to worry about it. When we get ready to start fishing boards, I think you should go ahead and just go grab them and throw them in there. Just so the mail, in case the mail comes. But, so that's an opportunity for you, okay? So, as CEO, I like this one. As CEO, because you are the CEO of your own company, am I right? Rate your performance for the first week using a scale of 1 to 5. So 1 improvement needed, 5 is excellent, no improvement needed. Where do you think you are in that?
Improvement needed.
You're not at a 1 though, Tina. You worked hard this week. I think you're at least a 3. I'm thinking a 3 because you've actually you've contacted people. You're heading in the right direction. So don't sell yourself short. Don't call yourself a 1. I definitely don't think you're at a 1 status. Yeah, there is improvement needed because you didn't completely meet every goal.
Right.
So, but if you're meeting your goals that easily, it's time to move your goals up. So, meet these goals next week, and then the next week we'll look at, maybe making 20 because you're going to kill it. It's 10. Okay, so let's talk about time blocking. And because what will you do differently next week? We've already talked about that. You're going to time block. You can time block?
Yes.
Vacations always throw everything.
Well, yeah, I'm still trying to organize my office.
Your chair.
No, that has to come back.
Awesome. Is it already put together?
No.
Oh,
That's another subject.
maybe Alan can teach you some words that he used. Okay. So didn't get it all done this week? Obviously, no. We've talked about that. Lead generation is your first priority. Time block for it, then schedule the other tasks you did not complete. So talk about, write down some things that are, or jot down or whatever, some things that are important that you get completed in the next week. Okay? Number 1, and lead gen is first and foremost, but other things that you didn't get done this week that you need to get done for next week. So think about that. Jot a couple of things down. Just take a couple of minutes. We're not going to go too long on that. Somebody didn't get the email.
Like me.
It's been multiple people today, but everybody will have to figure it out by the end of the day. Morning. All right. Y'all got a couple of things?
Yes.
So tell me what you wrote down that's important that you get done this week.
Continue to lead generate and do my notes and follow up.
Okay.
On some phone calls that I
Okay, so by when? I want you to commit to me because I'm going to hold you accountable on that.
have.
Tell me when you're going to get those done by. Lead generation is you do every day, right?
Right.
So I'll check in on that.
Follow up notes I have them done by Monday when I come in.
Okay. All right.
The
I'm
ones
gonna
that I
ask
should have did this week.
everything finished.
And I'm gonna continue to put in my
EH.
yeah,
You're going to work on your EH database?
Uh-huh.
When do you think you'll have that done? It's a big task.
That's big tax. I'm not.
You tell me, and then I'm
Well,
just gonna hold you.
I say I should have it, but not Monday of next.
Okay, so write those dates down, and I'm gonna come back and I'll ask you about it.
Okay.
Hi, Dee
Hey, this is my favorite part.
Vision board, time blocking. Like vision boards, time blocking, what part? It's all great. So okay, what'd you write down?
I want to organize my lead generation list. So I have a system, so I'm not spending all that time figuring out who I'm gonna call back. So whatever system I decide to use, whether it's like the big Fox, Gary the Fox, or the whatever it is that I have set and ready for my lead gen.
So when do you want to have it done by?
I'd like to have it done by next Tuesday.
By next Tuesday. So like this coming Tuesday or next Tuesday?
Well, actually, now that I'm sitting here thinking about it, I think I could probably get it done by next week.
At the end of next week?
By the end of next week.
Okay.
So then, stop for the following week,
You'll be ready.
I'll be ready to go.
Okay, write it down. I'm gonna shoot you guys an email, the ones that were here today, at the end of it, and just find out and get those dates from you so that I can put them on my calendar so that I can jump on you about it. Alan, did you write anything down?
I did not write it down because it is so burned into my head that I need to write it down. Notes, handwritten notes.
Handwritten notes.
Yes,
You're gonna write handwritten notes to who?
to follow up with people I contact.
Monday, 29th.
Okay. So by when will you have them? So everybody you contacted this week, when are you gonna have those notes done?
I'm going to write them while I'm away this week,
You're gonna write them while you're away this weekend?
Monday and Tuesday.
Okay. We have a flight. You can write them on the flight, and I'll be there going, write your notes.
Check in
write
with
your
me
notes.
Thursday.
Well, I'm gonna be checking in with you while we're on the plane, going, why aren't you writing notes? So, Alan's gonna have his accountability partner like right there. So I'm gonna, but I'm
Okay.
gonna jump on you about that. I'm gonna write that down, and I want to make sure that you get those done. So good.
Mine's in the notes Monday.
Okay. Yes, I'm gonna send, like I said, I'm gonna send out an email to you and you and you, and I want the dates that we just talked about. I'm gonna make sure I have them so that I can put them on my calendar, so that I can just come to you and drop the hammer. I'm just kidding. Kind of serious. Okay. So let's revisit our goals. Power Station 1, Heather, of course I know that you saw part of that, but you weren't here. But like I said, I think you've done some of these goals with the Billionaire Real Estate Agent. Annual goals can be broken down to monthly, weekly, or even daily to keep you on track. So let's enter some values down here and take a few minutes and do this exercise. And this is something that you guys are working on a little bit on Monday. Did you get through this more on Monday? Did you actually put
We
those in?
did targeted number of transactions to reach your GCI. We did not, however, tie it to appointments.
Okay. Okay. So if you know average sales price, what do we use for that? Just whatever.
It's for the market is 160.
So let's just use that number. So what, based on that, what's the average commission on that? You know, off the top of your head? Or off the top of your calculator?
$4,800.
So $4,800. And then just go through, and then you divide A by C. And that's the number of transactions you'll need to get to what you want. Just write those numbers in, and then once you get that number of D, which is A divided by C, use that for your contracts pending. So that number, the answer that you get here times 2 will be your answer for there. And then E times 2 is your signed agreements, so 7.5-year agreements lead to contracts, you'll need twice as many agreements. so on and so forth, and that'll give you all it's a lot of math. You're just gonna write math real big on there, aren't you?
Math, good.
Don't you have a calculator? You got like a phone, an iPad. You have, that looks like big, like the piano big. You just have to jump over it. To get over it.
SSD.
This number.
Determine our phone to reach your goal. And then. Oh, well, that's not as bad.
What?
The bottom number. When you start, you know what I
You
mean?
start multiplying it times 2. You're like, oh. But you divide it by 48 weeks. What was your final number?
3.
3.
That's what
So, assuming you work 48 weeks out of the year, think about that, 48 weeks, 52. It's fair. It's 4 weeks of vacation. I don't get that much. Assuming you work 48 weeks out of the year, divide the total number of appointments by 48. So, you need 3 appointments a week in those 48 weeks. Doable?
Yeah, I can do that.
Boom. So that says that you're on your, how many appointments did you have this week, Tina?
I had 2.
Okay. So you had,
No, I had 3.
you had
I
3.
got a list and I looked at a list in Monday night.
Okay.
And that was
Okay. That's why you have 3, so that you can get, get with the ones that you need.
right.
You have extra, they're built
And
in.
2 sales, which I wrote a contract with this month, which I get on reference. Get positive. That
It's actually, those are actually moving forward, right?
And then I should write one today. Also should this.
All right.
I love it. I love
That'll
it.
be my 3.
But you just need, this is 3 appointments.
Okay.
It's saying 3 appointments.
Appointment is not necessary.
Not necessarily that you need 3 transactions, 3 of anything. 3 appointments will get you, should get you to where you need to be. Now, those appointments, now you have to lead generate to get those 3 appointments. Those might be, they might be just why don't you come by and take a look at the house? Any of those appointments, anything that you get, those are, any appointments where you're actually in the house,
Yeah, that's what I get money.
good.
And I think if you follow the MRA model and actually track these numbers, I think that half of your contracts closing is pretty conservative way to calculate this. I would assume that more than half of your contracts will close if you're following the models and pretty well aligned with those. So I think that's fairly conservative.
Okay, so now with those numbers in mind, visualize your big why. And this is, I think, I'm excited about this. Number 1, I love graphs. I just do. But I also love having why. And I think that anything, the one thing that can keep you on track better than anything is that big why. That thing that keeps you going, that thing that gets you out of bed, takes you to work every day. Why do you do this? Why do you do this?
Well, a couple of reasons.
Okay?
First of all, I want my husband got good income coming in, but still, I want to be able where he can live comfortably. And the other big why is able I can go to missions and give to ministries and help the church.
Perfect.
That's my main testimony.
Those are good. So your family and your church. Big
And
why.
other ministry.
Sure. Your family and the church, I guess. The church.
Right. We help people.
Exactly. So what's yours?
Family and being able to do more so then Derek can do what he wants to do ultimately.
Okay. Heather, you have a unique situation, and her husband travels 100% of the time. He's there, he's home on the weekends, but, she's busting this out, and she's a full-time mama. with a, you know, and Derek's out there trying to do, I mean, he's trying to fund his big why as well. And she did, but I mean, I mean, it's hard to come up against that, and to be able to give him a little bit more freedom would probably, I know, make things easier for you at home too. So that's good. What's yours, Ryan?
To just be the, to be just the absolute, just to see just how far I can get. I don't know if that makes sense.
It makes absolute sense.
Yep.
You have a personal goal of seeing just how far you can go with this.
Yeah. So,
That's cool. That's cool.
and to be sure that today is always better than yesterday.
That's a good one. That's real good. And those things, you know, everybody, I think your knee-jerk reaction is to say my family. But those things, like when you say that that's your big why, that is because it's going to fund things so that your family can have the things that they want. And it's not saying that your big why is not your family.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's just saying that this is what I want to do because that's only going to make my family's life that much better.
It takes care of everything.
It takes care everything else will get taken care of. Exactly. So the power of a vision board, and this is, I think it's a really cool idea. I think people think it might, you know, some people don't buy in. They're like, this is kind of silly. But when you really put it there and you have it and it's hanging somewhere prominent where you can see it every day, and I definitely would recommend that you, whatever you do with this after this is all said and done, you put this somewhere where you have to look at it every day. And I think it's going to, it'll help kind of kick you into high gear. Countless successful people create vision boards or vision books which contain pictures and words that visually represent their most important goals, aspirations, and desired outcomes. These people know that in order to achieve their goals, they must look at them all the time. A vision board accomplishes just that. It serves as a constant reminder of your vision and goals and renews your energy and enthusiasm for maintaining your focus on your daily 10-4. Every time you get ready to stop at 6 contacts, you look at that vision board. And you say, oh, if I stop at 6, then I might not get my 3 appointments, which means I might not get, you know, I might not get those transactions. You know, you think about that. And then I don't have the money to live comfortably and to donate to the church and tithing and those things. So the pictures or words you put on your vision board might represent objects such as your dream car or your house. It may include pictures of your family, places that you want to visit, objects you wish to attain, or words that express the emotions and attitudes you want to feel. So these are the directions for creating your vision board. Just find a quiet, relaxing place with no distractions where you can work on your vision board. Go through magazines or browse, and I've got a bunch of magazines over here that you can browse, or look on the internet and see if you can find any words that bring your big why to life. The images you choose should evoke emotions and prompt you to think about how you would feel if you were in the picture. Be careful not to think or judge too much. Let instinct be your guide. So don't judge. I mean, if you want to have a jet one day, don't judge yourself for that. Don't say, oh, I can never do that. Don't judge yourself. Or I should want something different than that. It's okay to want a jet. It's okay.
Helicopters are better, but whatever.
Exactly. Alan wants us to have a KW-16 helicopter.
We were second tracking and all, he was like, see, if we had a helicopter, we could just hop in the helicopter and be home. And I was like, what is it about getting a helicopter?
It's a dude thing. It's definitely a dude thing.
We can be there like that. Yeah.
So place your vision board where you will constantly see it. So you need some artwork for your new offices, something to hang. You can put it in a frame once you're done, make it all cool looking, get that in. Yeah. So, all right. Well, I've got supplies. Let's get sorted. I've got these,
I'm going to have to actually leave.
that's okay. I want you to do a vision board, and I'm going to come see it on Monday.
Okay, that's going to be my project.
Here's some paper if you
I'm going to take them.
get you started. There's some scissors, there's magazines, there's glue sticks, crayons. I've got some markers here. So
Yeah, like a little mess.
Great job, Emma. Great job. It's amazing.
Yeah, just grab a couple and
Yeah, I would use a cup of coffee.
yeah, just everybody just kind of sit around and let's make some vision boards.
Right.
I'm excited. Wow. Yes.
Hey, can I use your office at one for my appointment?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, because I have a call, but I can do it on my cell phone.
Okay, all right, well, I actually realized that I called Betty too, so I'm gonna have to see if I can get someone to take my
Okay.
call Betty for.
Well, I can sit in Lisa's office until.
Okay. I mean, I don't think about it, it's probably.
That's fine. I can at least cover it for while you're in your meeting.
Okay. Let me have one of those, and, well, actually, you know, while I'm sitting there this afternoon, I can work on it.
My vision board.
Okay.
Hey,
We're working on our vision boards.
okay.
So just to talk about, if you go back, I'll scroll back up so you can read about vision boards. We were talking about our big why. So I'll reread this one time for you. So that you, countless successful people create vision boards or vision books which contain pictures and words that visually represent their most important goals, aspirations, and desired outcomes. So start thinking and just kind of, we're concentrating. We've got magazines here, so you can cut out some pictures, do some things, but after you get it done, you have to prominently display it somewhere so that you have to look at it every time you get ready to slack on your daily 10-4. You have to look at that vision board and feel the grasp of it.
Okay.
So grab some paper, make yourself a sweet
So it's like
vision
a
board.
collage?
It is like a collage of all of your big why, the things that are important to you that you want to make sure that why you do this. Why are you doing this, though? We talked about it a little bit. What's your goal? What's your big why? Why do you get up and go to work every day?
Oh, I want to sell a house
You want to sell a house.
or houses
You want to sell
and land
houses.
and
Awesome. So every time you get ready to slack off and not lead generate, you can look at this board and remember why you want to do these things. And there you go. They show you. We lives. That's okay. It's good. Let me hear you getting excited about the things that you're finding. That's okay.
I like to travel.
Which magazine is most likely to have a helicopter in
You can just put the word helicopter.
I'll draw one.
That's all right.
Oh, the Indian name looks in here.
Yeah.
Anybody see the helicopter looking at?
Why don't you just draw one?
I'm looking for a church building.
You looking for a church building? I see one. I'm gonna let you know.
Yeah, or you can draw the house.
Looking for a crop.
Like this. I would love that. You did.
I know.
And then you just take it and draw it out.
Yeah. You need to and a rainbow saying, I'm not going to see what I'm going to get. I need to stuff. Right, right. I'm going to see my heart.
Absolutely.
Anything you think of seeing will be the house. I just draw that. This is building. This is.
crafting.
Good, sounds fun.
Crafting.
Crafting our perfect lives. What's this for? Because they're gonna have another dog soon. We just don't have one right now. And I'm missing a baby.
I ran mine this morning.
Yeah.
I think they needed to be exercised. Yes. I'm on with myself.
Yeah, well, we're thinking fall.
Yeah.
Good. I miss having a dog around. I definitely want to get to grow up with a dog.
And my client said they just got one and their youngest carries it around like a baby. I'm like, oh. But yeah, if I have kids and I still have the two I've got, I'll be doing most to keep my two away from the baby, so that baby don't touch them, but lay on them, they're old. Looking for them.
Found a helicopter around.
Not yet. Not yet. Still digging. I found the Sunset River Trapping awning, and that's front of the Jose.
For your front porch at the lake.
Are y'all busy?
That kind of looks. You can
Come
walk
on,
through.
Bert.
We're making our vision board.
That's all right, Vanessa, look. Lot of fun. I see y'all.
Good
Good
weekend. Good.
Go still, that's right.
Knock it out.
That's what I like to hear.
Knock it out.
Yeah, it's a whole lot more fun than nothing. Oh, I'm not gonna do this, nothing else.
Yes, ma'am. I'm glad to hear it.
I appreciate that.
Need.
If I can speak the I want something real with that.
I need a picture of the ocean.
Seen one of those yet.
Huh?
I haven't seen one of those yet.
Yeah. put this on there.
Yes.
Free. Power free.
There's my sense of the track along again. So,
Maybe it's trying to tell you something. Hit me. Hit me. I want to be your agent. There's nice stuff on there. I like that.
I'm going to up this a little bit next year, break some DuPont registries. DuPont registry magazines. That's what people sell.
Helicopters.
Electric cars, helicopters, mansions. There you go. Will that work for you?
Yes.
Always here to help. No, sir.
I googled a bunch of pictures of our travel.
Man, you're super.
What kind do you want? Like military one, family level one, a blue one,
He wants
Actually,
fancy.
I want
like Donald Trump style.
like a mid-80s Bell Ranger.
Why do you get specific?
I mean,
Yeah.
that was a little specific.
Isn't it supposed to be?
That was
Bell
specific.
Ranger,
Bell Ranger.
1980s Bell Ranger.
Yeah.
Let's see. I like how Alan Huffnagel is on phone duty, but he is helping you with your vision. He wants you to succeed, Alan.
I appreciate this stuff, making time to helicopter. We gotta work
Team.
together. Bell Ranger. People like for about a cool 300.
300,000?
Yes, that is a range of
I wonder why that it's not getting great reception. I got one bar at the front desk, and it's moving.
I don't know what we've got. Susan was having issues with it up there yesterday too. I wonder if that router, if we need to get it.
I know in my parents' house, they had to put different little, I guess, little things around the house to make it signal strong as well.
Extenders.
Yeah, I guess it's
We need to do that.
not technology.
Relay.
Like, I'll put a washer and dryer up there. But you have to read the caption. Huh?
I told the internet supposed to have to wait in the picture.
We'll take about 5 more minutes and then we'll zip through the rest of this and then, and you can finish it at your own. Well, you can, yeah, I know, I fully expect you to finish your vision board.
How's it going, Bubba? Good. Found some stuff for your board.
I think so. I had like a lot of like business magazines. I like threw them on the site limit about 6 months ago. And I'm saying I had like a black garbage bag full of them. I was not having it. I don't know if we would have been doing this. I would say them. And it was a lot. Yeah, magazines.
No. For this.
Hey,
What's happening? Hello. Hello. How you doing? Good. Good.
Go and get it off. Did you get some paper going? They're just not cutting it for you.
Sorry, it's not so bad. It's anxious.
For the rest of the class.
Nice. Was that it?
It really was. No, I just made it here. Maybe I should, that's what, so there was it Wayne that was talking about that? The guy just like, we're just having fun. New generation with like something funky on every day.
Yeah.
That was initially his life.
Good idea.
Like he would sit there and sunglasses, and he like put on shorts and sunglasses. The guy, maybe I can't remember who said it was, but he would wear like shorts and sunglasses, and he would speed up on the desk. People would walk by, and, what are you doing? I'm having fun. Because it piqued people's curiosity about what he was doing, and he was just lead generating, but he was doing it with, he was like, I want to be somewhere sunny today, so I just figured I would act like I was somewhere sunny and give a lead generation. You know what? That's okay. But I want to see it, so I'm gonna come up and check on y'all and make sure that these are on there. Y'all can just keep working as we talk. Yes, hang up, but I will show y'all mine. So I have Nugget and Kelly. Nugget's what I call my baby. So I went and printed a picture of us and then of him. And then a pup, I just found a picture of a dog. I don't think that this is the particular kind of dog I would want, but that's okay. It's not, there's nothing personal. If you're one of these, if you have one of these little corgis, that's not a personal front. I'm just more of a lab girl myself. But we want to get another dog. And then I put these washer dryers up there. Seemingly a little odd, right? But if you look at the caption, it says, and someone to put the clothes in it for me. So I want to have all the shoes I could ever want, a big old giant yard for us to run and play in, and then a big old house in everything. So that's my vision board for this year.
For this year. Could change.
Yeah. Alan, what you working on? I know you're going to be finishing up. Everybody's going to be finishing up on their own. But what have you got on yours so far?
Well, the first top of it just says growth.
Good.
Because that's kind of my thing, is continual growth. And then I have top 30 money makers as the market center. And below that it says welcome to peace of mind.
I like that.
That's all that takes it. And then, of course, we want a commercial division, and my ultimate goal one day is to be a coach. So I've got that.
And you will.
Old coach right there.
You will. You'll do it.
And a beach house, and a tractor.
Tractor. To mow things?
Huh?
To mow things?
To just do stuff on the weekends. My huge ranch. It's about 200 acres.
Oh, sure. Smooth farm.
Got a couple of it right there.
Oh, what you putting on yours?
I put a light bulb up there because I want to keep learning, and I put I guess that's a Parthenon and Greece because I like to travel, and then a little like cute Craftsman style bungalow. That's what I want my first house to be. And I had the Kukla ECU.
Oh.
And
I was looking for some pirate stuff, and they had a book in there, but I got it.
it was like 2 ECU magazines in there. And then this umbrella with the yellow one. That one that like stand out.
Oh, I like that.
Mm-hmm.
That was cool.
Very
Very nice. So you know what? I know that you are going to work on yours, but what are some things that you have on there and
Travel.
that you want to travel?
Oh, yes, I like to travel.
Where do you go?
I went to Amsterdam, and I want to go back.
You go back and
Right, and overseas, I've been over there. That's one of them besides my main goal. And I also want to open up a daycare center. I need the funds for that for next year.
Okay.
Not for me to work, but for somebody else to work. And
I want somebody else to deal with those
that's right.
children,
That's right.
but I want them to have a good, safe place to go.
Right.
Absolutely.
And I'm also going to put a picture of the church I want to build.
All right.
And I'm
There you go.
and I want to grow too. I can grow in real estate. I want to be at the top. That's my goal.
There you go.
As long as I've got breath in me.
As long as you got breath in you, you
I
want
want
to
to
be at
get
the
there.
top.
I want to get there.
You're gonna get there and you're gonna go past it. You're doing the right things and you're pushing yourself. Even if nobody else is pushing you, you're there pushing yourself. But guess what? I'm gonna be pushing you too. And Alan will. And Bowen will. We'll push Bowen. We'll push Alan.
They're pushing me. I think
We all need it
I need
sometimes.
accountability is what I
And that's the thing, and that's the whole thing about this, and that's the whole reason you're doing this vision board. I know it seems like we're just playing and doing crafts, but
know.
when I look at this, like this, to me, even though this is all fun and colorful and kind of cutesy, it's serious to me. This is real serious. When I see this, I see what I want for the rest of my life.
Right.
And, you know, it's funny because I'm old having a baby. You know, I just had a baby at 37. And I never.
I mean, you are young, but.
Well, thank you. I'm not that young. But I think that my perspective just changed so much. And taking this job, stepping out of my comfort zone, I mean, those are all things that happen because a lot of it is because I had that baby. You know, I was happy where I was before. I didn't hate my job. I absolutely did not. Alan knew that when we started talking. And it was a big step for me because there was so much potential here. And I've got to continue. If I stop growing, you know, if you stop growing, what are you doing? What are you doing in your life if you're sitting in the same place year after year after year doing the same things? And you're not growing, you're not getting any better. I'm not that I couldn't provide for him where I was, but I have the potential to be able to do so much more. So that's why I'm here. Okay. So now that we've shared a little bit about our boards, we're going to just kind of zip through this last part because this session was really only supposed to be about an hour and we're a little bit over. But we did spend some time on these. So aim high. So this next little section is about adjusting your focus. And the Millionaire Real Estate Agent says, focus is the little difference that makes the big difference in our lives. Accountability is about defending your activities to an objective observer. People are going to say, well, that doesn't work for me. That's not helpful for me. The models and the systems and the things that we recommend for you, they're not there because somebody said, oh, this will be fun. Let's see if people will do this crap. That's not what happened. Like, these are tried and true methods. I mean, Gary Keller, you know, was the co-author of that book. He's done this. And the reason that he did this is because he did these things. So, the accountability feedback loop. Set goals, which we've done. We've talked about our goals today. Do the daily 10-4. That's one of our goals, actually. You know, the goal, but to help you, this is a goal for you to do this, but it actually will help you with the other goals that you set for yourself. Measure your results. Track your numbers. Every time, Tina, I think this is especially important for you to start doing right now because you really are making an effort to do that daily 10-4. Start tracking it. Where you are right now, what you've done, and track. I want to see where you are next year at this time. Like, I'm excited to see where actually tracking these things and actually being intentional about this is going to do. It's going to help you measure. So that'll help you measure your results and evaluate the process. As you go through this, you're going to tweak things. You're going to find ways of doing things that are better. Once you get that database in place in Edge, you're gonna have, it's gonna free up some of your time. You know, you're gonna be able to block time for contacting your database. You know, you can block more lead gen time because you're only having to put in 10 contacts a day.
Right.
So, you know, once you get the main, the first initial dump of all your contacts takes the longest. After that, it's just maintaining. And then make adjustments. Like I said, after you evaluate the process, you're going to make adjustments and refocus. And once you refocus, you set new goals. So this year, how many transactions did you want to do this year?
I want to do per month, per week.
Or year? I mean, how many houses or how many sales do you want to have this year?
At least 12 for the rest of the year.
12 for the rest of the year. For the rest of 2014?
Right.
Okay, so let's say, then you've got for 1 year from now. So that's 6 months. So, and another 6 months, so we'll say 24.
Right.
Okay? Then next year, when we come around and we're doing this again, which we'll do Ignite again later in the year, but when we do this again next year, your goal should be at 57. We're ready. You're going to be, because once you realize, once you get in here and start doing these things, you're going to be able to, you're going to realize that you need more. By next year, you might be saying, okay, my new goal is to hire a buyer's agent or an assistant, or, you know, by next year this time, you might have asked for, there you go. Say it out loud.
Oh, I
Make
have
it
to.
real. That's right.
There you go.
Say it out loud. Speak it, believe it. That's one thing that I try to do. I try to say my goals and my things out loud because it's accountability. When you say things out loud, it makes it real. Especially when other people hear you. You can say it out loud in the shower all you want, but if you say it out loud in a room like this, people are going to say, next year when you have that, we're going to say, hey, remember last year at night you were just talking about it. Now you got it. So that's exciting when you say it out loud. It kind of, like I said, it just makes it real and it makes you ready to go. So reward yourself. Commit to rewarding yourself for accomplishing your goals. This is awesome, and this is something that I do with my fitness as well. When I get myself, you know, my goal, I have goals with weight loss. I have, and this is something you can do if you know the number of transactions you want to do. I have these 2 jars, and they have marbles in them. So for when I had all my baby weight on, I had the jars with marbles in them. And that was for how many pounds I wanted to lose, how many marbles were in that jar. So for every pound that I lost, I would move the marble to another jar. And my reward to myself was, once I do this, I'm going to go buy myself some new clothes. So you set a goal for yourself, and once you, so you could say, I want to do 24 transactions in the next 12 months. 2 months. Think about that. So you put 24 marbles in that. Every time you sell a house, every time every time you have a transaction that completes, move a marble over. When you empty that, do something. Go ahead and know what that reward is. Don't just say, I'll do something nice for myself. Know what it is. Say, if I can do this in a year, I am going to. Or yourself. So when I complete, even if it's, you start with the goal of when I complete 12 by the end of 2014. So what are you going to do for yourself?
I never thought about it.
Never thought about it? Because you're somebody who thinks about other people a lot. How many do you want to do by the end of the year?
I'd like to do at least 12.
Okay. So when you complete 12 transactions, what are you going to do for yourself?
Go on a trip somewhere.
Where? Be specific. Be specific with yourself.
There's so many places I want to go.
Pick one. Where's the first place you want to go? Or maybe because this is your first reward, you want to make it a little conservative. Maybe you just want to go to Mardi Gras instead of going to Greece first. You know what I mean? What do you?
Maybe like Las Vegas. I've never been there.
Vegas. Vegas is awesome. I'm married there.
This year.
So make that your goal. When I complete 12 transactions, whether it's in a year or not, just when I complete that 12th transaction, I'm going to Vegas. Make it and write it down, say it out loud, speak it, and do it. Just do it.
Just do it.
What's yours? What's your goal? Or that you can, so 50, is there a time frame?
50 this year.
50 this year, by the end of 2014? Or in the next year?
2000.
Okay. So, what are you going to do for yourself when you reach that goal?
I'm buying myself an S55
What's the next 55?
Mercedes.
A Mercedes S55. So there's a car involved. Did y'all hear that? Everybody heard it? Alan's going to get those transactions. All right. So,
See if I can get it in my register.
That's right. So, and I'm just gonna, plus it with Bold. I know that you, Tina, have already said that you're gonna go to Bold. Bowen, I don't know when you're planning to do Bold, but I know you're planning.
You guys,
I would love for us to have a big group that goes together, and I'll tell you why. Alan and Heather and I did it together, and every week when we came back, we were all so pumped up, and we were ready to talk about it. And those car rides back and forth, we really were pumped up and talking about it, and it helped us all stay on track. And I think the larger group we have, the more accountable everybody's going to be, and I think everybody's going to kind of keep each other at the high gear. So that's awesome. Hopefully, so that's October. I think that's when Ron plan on it. Plan on it. So, and that's just what this says. After Ignite, there are several coaching avenues to keep the path of success. In addition to your productivity coach, Max Coaching provides several programs to keep you accountable to your goals. One follow-up program you'll want to schedule as soon as it shows up in your area is the Bold Experience 8-week program. Truly take your business to new heights. What is it? What is that average? The average Bold graduate has 14 transactions during that time. Because you're calling. You call 100 contacts a week. You're actually doing it. You pick up the phone and you call. If you don't, you're getting fouled. You don't want to foul out of Bold. She'll send you a nasty email. I had a clerical error for mine, but I didn't get one of those emails, and I was like, no, don't kick me out. But it's worth it. So choose an accountability and script partner. And you don't have to do that. I know that Tina's been working with Sandra, and Tina's been calling in every morning. Even if you're driving in and you don't have your scripts with you, call in sometime and just listen. Even if you're just listening to start with. Or call in and participate from the other end of it, and you'll start doing those scripts. Tina's improved already this week. Like, I can tell a difference in what she's doing from day one to what she did today. Like, I can already hear a difference in what she's doing. And she's getting more and more conversational. Once you get better at that, like you've been working a similar script for most of the week, so then instead of actually reading it, you can bullet point it, and you have that script and kind of some bullet points so that you're not even reading it anymore, because you've got it now. You got it down pat. So find an accountability partner. You've got the built-in one kind of in your office. I know Sandra kind of cracks the whip on you and tries to keep you coming and getting here to the class. And I'm going to be kind of everybody's accountability partner. I'm going to be coming around, and I'm keeping a check on you. Like I said, I'm going to send out an email and ask you about your wins that we were talking about earlier. I'm going to send out an email, and I want you to give me those dates so that I can follow up with all of you. So be open to accountability. So when you talk to your script partner, and we're doing the call every day. So I think everybody that's doing the classes can kind of be script partners together. We've kind of got a script group. So that part is not as important, but find somebody, and you've got Dee Dee in your office, tell her, say, Dee Dee, I need you to help hold me accountable, and I'm going to help hold you accountable. I want, this is what I want to do, and while you're in there, weekly, I want specific day and time, block out a couple of minutes each week to say, okay, what'd you do this week? How did it work for you? So, you have a built-in one in there. I don't know if she, if that's what you want to use, or if she's available for that, but find somebody in this office that can help you crack a whip on yourself. Alan, you got Tammy right there. You're cracking whips. So anyway, you're going to meet with your accountability partner, and you're going to share all these goals and the wins and opportunities that we talked about today, and get get everything ready and start meeting weekly and really following up. Alan and I have a meeting set up that we're going to be doing every Friday, where he cracks the whip on me. So
I can't say enough from personal experience with what Matt's coaching offers either. It's incredible. Even if you do a group coaching call, it costs you $100 a month. I'm doing the Make the Phone Ring Again program right now. It's $100 a month for 4 months, it's 13 weeks, and it goes really, really in depth on how to play with your sphere of influence. And I think it's money well.
They recommend, especially for newer agents, language sales, they say that's a really, really good one to start with, and it's a group coaching, same pricing schedule. Something to think about. Hit those up, just go on and look at the MAPS website and just see the things that they offer and see what might be in your wheelhouse, or what might be out of your wheelhouse that you want to make in your wheelhouse. Because that's the biggest thing. I posted something on Facebook the other day that says life begins at the end of your comfort zone. So, I mean, it's true. You know, step out and do things that are not comfortable for you. So, be open to accountability. So, be prepared to answer questions about the following: your goal, your big why, your results, your wins, your opportunities, what you're going to do differently next week. And Tina, we already talked about that a little bit. Bowen, how did you do with your daily 10-4 this week? Did you make 10 contacts today?
Not a day, but I did add 10 contacts this week.
This week, you should have had 40. So next week we're going for 40, right? Mm-hmm. So that's an opportunity. You did, but you started. You kick-started the process, so you're actually getting out there calling people or talking to people. So next week, just kind of make it your goal to actually add 10 a day. You can contact 10 people a day and write 10 notes. So write those notes.
I like what Wayne said yesterday, but using the phone, but that's a good idea. So I'm going to start using it.
That was a really good, I mean, you think about, and I have one in the office, and you need to come start picking through, but that was a really good idea, and not because not just to read the whole phone book, but start looking at last names and be like, oh, I know somebody with the last name Jones. I know somebody, Tina knows about everybody with the last name Dixon, because she keeps bringing them in to me for a real estate school. She's like, we're not related. She always says that, we're not related. I'm like, yeah, you're bringing your whole family in. She's going to get her whole family going. So hold someone else accountable. Keep the conversation confidential. If somebody is, if you're holding somebody accountable, if you're going in and you're checking in on them and they're not, that's something that's in the millionaire real estate agent. Praise in public, correct in private. Just say, hey, this is an opportunity, but don't go out and say, well, that open. He didn't call all his people today. You don't go out there and do that. You say, hey, get on it next week. So that's one of the biggest things. Be encouraging and supportive. I think that Tina can attest to the fact that during those scripts calls, we've had some that's accountability right there. But Sandra has had some amazing encouragement and feedback for you. She's been really, really good and helpful for you. So confirm day and time of next accountability check-in. Try to schedule that every week with your accountability partner and say, hey, let's make it a day, and just chat about it. It doesn't take long. You don't have to block out 2 hours of your day, 10 minutes to say, hey, this is where I was this week, this is what I did, and for them to say, what are you going to do to change it? What are you going to do next week? What are you going to do to improve and to get where you want to be? So and then at some point, just kind of go through and answer these. Today, do this today. What's your goal? What's your big why? We talk about all these things, so the answers are already there. You've already talked about them. So, but sometimes when you write things down, it makes them that much more real. So, your action plan: time block and complete the following activities before Monday. Finalize all details for your upcoming highly successful open house. Prepare for your next power session. So, time block for next week's Ignite sessions. Be prepared to share your open house wins and opportunities. Bring your value proposition from Power Session 1 that you did, and bring your business-to-business vendor list from Power Session 1. Print out or have access to your laptop to the eEdge Buyer's Guide, and ensure that you have MLS access. So that's what's happening. Wayne will be back on Monday. So yeah, I'm really excited to have him again. So make sure you do your daily 10-4, and let's go get ignited. Okay. All right.
Thank you.
Oh, sure. Hey, Tina, slide out from in front of that for 1 second so I can see. No, you're fine. I'm trying to think I'm on there.
Let me go check on the record.